Next recognized, I will call R. Fox, Senior Resident Superior Court Judge, District 15B.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am indeed honored and humbled to speak about my friend, Judge Henry Hight Jr., also known as Chip Hight. I believe I've known Judge Hight since shortly after I became district attorney in 1984. It was my practice back then to greet new Superior Court judges when they were assigned to our district, and Judge Hight was always polite and cordial. Although there wasn't a blog for defense attorneys back in the 80s, word about a judge traveled fast and spread like a cold. No one, and I mean no one, has ever not noticed that Chip was assigned to hold court in their district. Although I have absolutely no idea exactly why. Defense attorneys begged their clients to accept the state's plea offer and not go to trial. I think only the late James H. Pugh Bailey was more talked about and to some extent feared than Chip Hight. And Chip Hight was feared without having a gun on the bench. I heard someone refer to Judge Hight as hang 'em high Hight, and I thought, that's very interesting. I like to think Judge Hight is more like a plea or docket helper, much like hamburger helper. Because the number of guilty pleas always went drastically upward when he was in town, especially if there was no alternative judge to go to. However, he didn't always accept the plea agreement. He was much more cordial than some who would actually ball up the plea agreement and throw it back to you. In probation violation hearings, somewhat like the late Judge J.B. Allen, Chip would remind the defendant that probation was his chance to demonstrate good conduct and rehabilitation or suffer the consequences. He didn't speak of that more than once to the same defendant. Once I heard Judge Hight lament about judges arranging to go back to their districts for administrative court, and I remembered that when I became a judge, and I never went back to hold administrative court. As a result, I scheduled myself wherever I needed to be. Chip could have easily have been an English professor because I don't know anyone who can string sentences like Chip Hight. I prefer to refer to them as paragraphs when he's in court. In Durham, I heard a motion to recuse Judge Hudson at that time for over 4 hours, and a subsequent motion was heard by Chip a week or two later, and his took 5 minutes. He was efficient and to the point. On one occasion, Chip happened to be at a flea market or yard sale and found a mirror with a likeness of Jesus Christ on it, purchased it and presented it to the trial court, the judicial assistant who was in Durham at that time. Obviously, he did it to gain favor with her, sort of like a cat presents a dead mouse to its owner, or a dog presents a dead squirrel. The mirror had a small fluorescent light that he had not paid attention to, and when the assistant put it up on the wall and plugged it in, it sort of showed a likeness that was sort of magical to the mirror, and according to response, I was told, she said, "Holy Jesus, holy Jesus." I don't know if he knew that, but that mirror became a point of homage and respect for others frequenting the judicial assistant's office. No doubt I was an outcast on Survivor Durham edition, and Chip won that edition. On one of his happier and lighter moments, Chip, Bob Hobgood, Sid Aldridge, and I were paired together for the Wake County Bar Association golf tournament several years ago. And on the last hole, we had figured that we needed to make birdie in order to have a chance of winning. And we made an exciting birdie chip on that hole, and you have never seen 3 judges dancing around and screaming like this. So, Chip, because I assume you're gonna play lots of golf, I have a little something for you. Now these are, don't, there's a lesson to these golf balls. They're half Pro V1s for the good side of you, and they're half GT soft for the bad side of you. One side is for that side that believes you're the greatest golfer in the world. The other side is for the one that hits it in the pond and in the woods. So just remember that. When I was assigned to Raleigh, he would contact me almost every Monday without fail to invite me to go to lunch with him, and most of the time I did. In fact, when I first became a judge, he and Judge Allen sat me down in Asheville, and we sort of had a how to do it lessons, basically holding court for dummies. And he told me about how to do it and how to get it right. And when we would go to lunch, he would wait in the lobby and patiently, and I'd come down and we'd go over and share stories and listen to his stories. When I met my wife, Julia, she told me she knew Chip and Barbara, his wife, and I said, do you like Julia, Chip? He said, she's one of the best people in the world, a really great person. You're a lucky man if you're going out with her. And she's my wife today. And Chip's sister, Jane, and I were in school together, and if I had known I was going to be appearing in front of him, I'd have been much nicer to Jane than mine. Chip is what we call a judge's judge. He, along with several of the judges, urged me to submit my name to become a judge in the first place. And if I had a question, I could go down the hall and ask him a question. In fact, one time I walked in, he was in the middle of a jury trial, and he was sitting there patiently, looked at everyone. And he stopped court and came over and answered my question. I don't know what Chip has planned for his next chapter in life, but what Barbara has in store for him, because she could have lots of honeydews, you know that, right? And although I suspect he will spend at least some of that time traveling and visiting friends and family, spoiling his grandchildren and playing golf, I already miss his texts and calls to go to lunch. But I also hope I can call him and that we can have lunch together sometime soon. Whatever you do, Chip, I hope you have a long and happy retirement. You get all of those things on your bucket list done, and you and Barbara have a long and happy life after court together. And I brought you something that I give to special people. These are Hub's chocolate-covered peanuts. These are among the best chocolate-covered peanuts that you can possibly have. They are as addictive as crack. They have their address. You can order them if you want to. Don't blame me for your weight gain. But I hope your retirement is as sweet as these peanuts, and I wish you well, and come see me sometime.